Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Creme to News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan alongside Whitney Ward and Tom Sherry.
Holy moly, look at us now.
I know, right? I feel like we're breaking rules, but we're not.
We're not breaking rules because we're all double vaccinated.
I know, fully vaccinated.
It's hard to believe it's been 14 months, over a year since we all had to kind of vacate the studio. We went home for a long time and anchored from there, but we're back. We're super excited, and we just wanted to shout it from the rooftops.
And we had to social distance when we were in here. We were
Right.
never allowed to be really together at all.
10 feet apart.
We all had to walk in separate doors. We have our masks on, and then we all did our jobs, rolled up our sleeves, got the vax. I knew that low-grade fever was worth something.
Hey, I promise you guys I won't get sick, you guys, okay? I'm totally cool being this close to y'all.
Absolutely right. I would have trimmed my ear hairs if I'd known we were doing this today.
I didn't want to say it on TV, but you did.
Okay then, there you go.
I'll do better tomorrow.
All right. Anyways, we're excited to be here and kind of back to normal, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, let's talk about some news, shall we? Well, with more people getting vaccinated in Washington, the state is now on track for a June 30th reopening date. And of course, we could still reopen early if we hit Governor Inslee's goal of 70% of those 16 and older getting at least one dose of the coronavirus vaccine.
So right now the state sits at about 60%, just under 60%, and Spokane County a little bit behind that. Our own Ian Smay is in the newsroom tonight with more on how we're doing when it comes to reaching that goal and local efforts to get people vaccinated. Ian?
Yeah, good evening, Mark and Whitney. As you said, Spokane is lagging behind the statewide rate when it comes to those 16 and older with at least one dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. But the number that really matters is that statewide rate, and we are seeing efforts in Spokane to do our part in hitting that goal. I spoke with Spokane's interim health officer to get his thoughts on our path to reopening. Washington is on the path to reopening, and vaccines are the key to moving that date up from June 30th. Governor Jay Inslee set that date earlier this month, while also announcing an earlier move if we hit 70% of those 16 and older in the state starting the vaccine process, which means getting at least one shot of a COVID-19 vaccine. Spokane's interim health officer, Dr. Francisco Velasquez, says he's hopeful we'll reach that goal before the end of June.
Well, I think we have a really good possibility of hitting the 70%. Don't know if it will be for June 30th. I would hope that we do. I'm pretty sure the state will reach that number before we do, just based on where we are.
As Velasquez said, Spokane is lagging behind the state average when it comes to vaccines. This graph shows how both Spokane County and the state as a whole is doing, according to Washington Department of Health data. The red line shows the goal of 70%. Spokane County is sitting at just about 48%, although Velasquez says this number has rose slightly in the last few days. The state is sitting a bit ahead of that, with just a little more than 59% having received at least one shot. The gap isn't limited to just Spokane either. In this graph, the gap for Eastern and Western Washington becomes apparent. Eastern Washington is at about 46%, with Western Washington just a bit over 60%. This vaccine push has resulted in mobile vaccine events popping up in Spokane. One such event happened at Brick West Brewing earlier this week, and the brewery saw it as a success.
It was good to see the community rally behind this vaccination. It was a lot of people on our social medias were really appreciative of it, and so the community seemed like they're really interested in that kind of event. We had a good time.
Power says about 100 people got their shot on Tuesday. The brewery gave $1 beers to those getting their shot. Brick West says the event may return as we get closer to June 30th or that 70% mark, and according to Powers, it isn't just for the goal of reopening early.
I was vaccinated, fully vaccinated about 2 weeks ago, and just that in and of itself was a relief. And it's something where I don't think you might not notice until you get to that point that it's like a sigh of relief.
For Washington to reach its goal of 70%, a little less than 663,000 more people need to get at least one COVID-19 shot. Another thing that Dr. Velasquez told me earlier today is that there is not a shortage of vaccines here in Spokane County. You should be able to get a vaccine appointment if you want one, and Velasquez said the health district is continuing its work to educate people on the vaccine and how to get it. In the newsroom tonight, Ian Smay, Creme 2 News.
Ian, thank you very much. And of course, all this matters because COVID is still spreading in some places in Spokane County. Health officials are reporting 117 new cases today. That brings the total number since the pandemic started to 44,152. There were no new deaths, though, today. Currently, 77 people are hospitalized.
New tonight, a search warrant filed on Wednesday contains new details into the North Idaho road rage murder of a Spokane mother and may support claims made by the suspect. 28-year-old Richard Huff was arrested Saturday for second-degree murder. Huff pleaded not guilty in court on Monday afternoon, and he claimed that the victim was armed with a knife and that she threatened to cut him. Well, police said in court documents they did not find the knife on the scene. However, according to newly filed court documents, police did learn during an interview with the driver of the car the victim was in, the victim had a, quote, putty knife on her, and he took it before he then fled the scene. Huff is being held in the Spokane County Jail with a $750,000 bond. Well, in an effort to get the community vaccinated, the Spokane Arena is hosting vaccination happy hour events. Those events are happening from 5 to 7 p.m. on May 25th, then again on June 2nd, 8th, and 16th. They will include free food from local vendors, music, and giveaways. Also, there will be a drawing for tickets to upcoming concerts at the arena. The single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccines will be given at the events, and people can either schedule an appointment online or just walk up during the vaccination happy hour.
And also happening today, Providence Health is hosting a vaccine clinic at Gonzaga University. They're offering the Pfizer version of the vaccine, which right now is the only one approved for children 12 and older. And walk-ins are also welcome there. They'll be there until 6:30 tonight. Here's a story now that we're working on for you for 6 o'clock. Avista taking steps now to get ready for what could be a severe wildfire season. I talked to one of the utility's top directors about what they're doing to prevent fires, but also how the company is responding differently once those fires actually start.
We're seeing changes really across, you say, Eastern Washington. Most utilities are responding to this kind of increased understanding of wildfire risk. We saw this happening in California about 10 years ago, and a much more substantial response in the Northwest in the last 3 years.
Has there been any talk about the possibility of rolling blackouts? You're going to hear his answer to that question, plus the biggest change you'll notice as a customer if your power does go out this summer. That's coming up tonight right here on KREM 2 News at 6.
Looking forward to that one. In the meantime, let's talk weather. The chance of rain will continue through the weekend here in the inland Northwest. Want to head out now to meteorologist Tom Sherry in the Outdoor Weather Center right now. Tom, it looks like it's not raining at this moment on you.
No, I've actually got a little filtered sunshine going on right now. Actually, compared to what most of today looked like when it was very gray and wet, this looks actually pretty darn nice. Again, at my location here on the South Hill. Take a look at the weather headlines. We're talking about mostly cloudy weather again tonight and on Friday, although temperatures may be about 10 degrees warmer on Friday. And then as we head into the weekend, we will look for a chance of showers. But again, that's just a slight chance of some scattered showers. And temperatures will warm on the weekend near average as we look for them to get up to the upper 60s. And then next week we should get back into the 70s. 51 degrees under cloudy skies, or mostly cloudy skies, as you can see. When we take a look at the Doppler radar, lots of rain down into north central Idaho, also into areas of eastern Washington, and then a line of thunderstorms up along the Cascades and also beginning to move down from the lower Columbia Basin into northern Oregon. Here's a close-up view of our showers. Again, most of them to the south of us, not so much here in the Spokane area, dry out towards Moses Lake and into Ritzville. So here we go with a look at your day planner forecast. I've got a cold night tonight, an overnight low of 38 degrees, 62 the high tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies, a slight chance we might see a few showers. And then as we look ahead to the weekend, it goes like this. I've got near average temperatures with 68 expected on Saturday, 69 on Sunday. Right now, just a 20% chance of showers. I'll have a look at your 7-day forecast, all coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Tom, thank you. Some breaking news for you tonight. Israel has announced a ceasefire with the Palestinian Hamas, ending 11 days of violence.
It caused widespread destruction in the Gaza Strip and brought life in much of Israel to a standstill. The prime minister said Israel accepted the Egyptian proposal after a late-night meeting of his security cabinet. This came after recommendations from the military chief of staff and other top defense officials. Hamas quickly followed suit and said they would also honor the deal. Today, President Joe Biden gave brief remarks in response to the ceasefire. The president has been in contact with both the president of Egypt and the prime minister of Israel.
The United States fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against indiscriminate rocket attacks from Hamas and other Gaza-based terrorist groups that have taken the lives of innocent civilians in Israel. The prime minister also shared with me his appreciation for the Iron Dome system, which our nations developed together and which has saved lives of countless Israeli citizens, both Arab and Jew. I assured him of my full support to replenish Israel's Iron Dome system to ensure its defenses and security in the future.
This agreement closes now the heaviest round of fighting between those two enemies since a 50-day war back in 2014. Also today, the House voted on Wednesday, yesterday, to establish a 10-member commission to investigate the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol.
The 10 members would be equally appointed by Democrats and Republicans, and each with subpoena power. They would have until the end of the year to complete their work. The top Democrat and Republican on the House Homeland Security Committee negotiated the framework of the bill, but the House vote broke largely along party lines, and it is shaping up to be a partisan battle in the Senate as well.
I've made the decision to oppose the House Democrats' slanted and unbalanced proposal for another commission to study the events of January the 6th.
So at least 10 Senate Republicans would need to vote with Democrats to overcome a procedural filibuster, and some say they are open to it. Now, the FBI has already arrested more than 400 people who stormed the Capitol that day, and they say they're still looking for others. In fact, just yesterday, they released additional body camera footage asking for help identifying any additional suspects, attacking police with tactical batons and brass knuckles.
Locally, only one representative from the state of Washington and one from Idaho voted against creating that commission. Washington Representative Cathy McMorris Rodgers and Idaho Representative Russ Fulcher both voted against the investigative commission yesterday. Representative McMorris Rodgers released a statement in response to the House's vote. In it, she thanked the Department of Justice, state and local law enforcement for arresting the people responsible, and she said she fully supports prosecuting every individual who acted illegally to the fullest extent of the law. She then goes on to say the commission established could impede the ongoing investigation of these events and delay the prosecution of those responsible by unnecessarily duplicating efforts.
The Congresswoman also says, in part in her statement today, the bill also failed to provide an avenue for examining the violence that swept across the nation last summer as rioters looted and burned to the ground cities like Seattle and Portland, events that cannot be ignored as we assess the factors that led to an attack on our democracy. For Representative McMorris Rodgers' full statement, just text the word VOTES to 509-448-2000. Well, a mile of the Centennial Trail is getting a facelift in west central Spokane. The city started construction on the Summit Gap project this week. We've got more details coming up right after the break.